Hey guys, this is Kevin. So I've been using the iPhone 14 Pro Max ever since it was first released, but I wanted to try turning to the dark side and use only the Galaxy S23 Ultra as my main phone. As an Apple fanboy who spent a lot of time inside the walled garden, I'll share the pros, cons, and my overall thoughts about this switch. So let's jump right in. Okay, Android is very customizable, which I'll divide into 3 different levels. For level 1 is the basic wallpaper change on your lock screen and home screen, but Android takes it a step further by matching the color palette to your wallpaper. I'll use this tennis court looking one as an example, and you can see how the color palette changes to match it. Once I apply it, the quick panel icons change colors, the on and off switches, and even some text. And if you turn on apply palette to app icons, those will change too. It doesn't happen for every app though. Moving on to level 2, the home screen layout. We're all familiar with having apps nicely aligned, but what if you want all the apps pushed to one side? Well, on Android, apps can be placed anywhere you want, and I can even have a space in between apps. You can also change the grid layout for the home screen, app screen, and folders. And last but not least, level 3. Most companies have their own skin built on top of Android. We have One UI on Galaxy phones and it's quite different from stock Android. So if you're like me and prefer Samsung's hardware with a pixelish look, you can install a launcher. I'm using Nova Launcher and now my Galaxy S23 Ultra looks like stock Android, but with the extra One UI features. You can even go above and beyond by changing the notification center and volume sliders. But the coolest thing is on the Galaxy Store. There are themes you can download, some are free and some are a few dollars, and they can completely change the entire look of the phone. I can apply this cat theme, then the wallpaper, app icons, and even the always on display are changed. Now I'm not saying iOS can't do any of these, it'll just take longer. On iOS, you can change your lock screen and home screen wallpaper, but that's it. There is a nice blur effect on the home screen though. As for the app layout, every app needs to be auto-aligned to the top left. You can't place the icons anywhere you want without any workarounds. I normally place widgets on the top half so the apps are reachable. And if you want to apply a theme, it's not possible. I've seen some cool customizations, but these require the Shortcuts app. I made this matte black icon one a couple of years ago, but took way too long to make all the icons and set up each shortcut. So the good thing about Android is that if I ever wanted a fresh new look, I can always switch the whole UI in seconds. Alright, navigating around the UI is different on both phones. On Android, you can access Notification Center and Quick Panel by swiping down from the top, middle, or bottom. On iOS, you can only access it by swiping down from the top. Swiping down anywhere else will bring up search. These are pretty big phones, and using them one-handed isn't always safe. Android has a universal back gesture where you can swipe from either the left or right side to go back to the previous page, and iOS only has a swipe from the left. I prefer Android's way because I don't need to reach all the way to the other side. Plus, I rarely need to go forward a page. As for one-handed mode, they have different methods. On Galaxy phones, a swipe down from the bottom shrinks the entire UI, so everything is reachable. It also stays like this until you deactivate it. On iOS, there's reachability, which shifts the UI down, but it returns to normal after you tap something. I'm a big phone person, so these gestures help me use the phones one-handed. So Apple added the ability to add widgets on iOS 14, but they're only glanceable. Widgets on Android, however, are interactive. Some of my favorite widgets are Spotify, so I can see what song's playing, pause it, or skip to the next track without opening the app. Device Care to monitor my storage and memory, or to clear up the RAM altogether. And the Hue app to turn on or off my smart lights. I'm hoping Apple will add interactive widgets in a future version of iOS, since this could be done on Dynamic Island. iOS still limits one app to be used at a time. iOS 14 added picture-in-picture though. I don't go commando on multitasking since most of the time I'll just use my MacBook Pro or iPad Pro. But if I don't have any of those with me, then multitasking can come in handy. Let's say my cousins and I want to find a new place to eat, I can use Yelp to search for a place, look at pictures, and read reviews, then use Chrome to place an order. On iOS, I will need to go back and forth between apps. And if you're a hardcore multitasker, Android allows you to have split screen, pop-up view, and picture-in-picture. Now I want to talk about hardware. Both of these phones have amazing screens, great cameras, and excellent build quality. I prefer the iPhone with the squared off design and it feels more premium with the stainless steel sides. The screen is also color accurate and brighter. Samsung phones are a little too saturated. In terms of the cameras, both take great photos and videos, and I don't really prefer one over the others since I always edit my shots later. If you're interested in why I have 2 phones in the first place, I'll leave a link to that video in the description box below. And of course, we can't have an Android and iPhone video without talking about the Apple ecosystem. I use basically every Apple product on a daily basis, but some of them are now paperweight since I switched. My Apple Watch can't be set up or paired to an Android phone, and my HomePods won't work without any third-party software. I'll need to use a physical Apple Card in stores, and my transactions and Apple Savings accounts are only available on iPhone. Luckily, I can still make payments online. And probably the biggest loss for me is continuity. I never knew how much I used it. No more AirDrop for sharing files between devices, phone calls can't be answered on a Mac, and Universal Clipboard to copy and paste text or media from one device to another. And also iMessage and FaceTime for my family group chats. The deeper you're in the Apple ecosystem, the harder it is to get out. If I could combine these two phones into the ultimate phone, I would have the iPhone 14 Pro Max design with the Galaxy S23 Ultra's Phantom Black and cameras. Then I'd add some Android iOS hybrid with the customizations and continuity features. Would you make the switch? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you'll be notified when I post new videos. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!